Well, welcome everybody. It's nice to see this group. Very nice. I guess our publicity paid off. I'm on the pond committee, so is Dave, our speaker. And I know there's some other pond committee members here somewhere. And last year, if you recall, we had, I think, 4 seminars. This is the first for this year. And we're really honored and lucky and fortunate to have Dave McMahon on our pond committee. And so he's our first speaker, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Thank you very much. It's McMahon. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about, by the way, phones off, and there will be an exam afterwards. I'm a retired professor after all, so there's no getting out of it. And there will be homework, so, I got that out of the way, all the bad stuff, now for the good stuff. But today it's Meet Your Neighbors from the Animal Kingdom. Large to small, let's meet them all. Now, most of you know most of the animals we're going to be seeing, but you don't know everything about those animals. What we're not going to be doing today is this is not going to be a scientific lecture. This is going to be a lecture to let you know what you need to know about the animals and what part they play in the ecology that we all live in, okay? And so that's what we're most concerned about today, is how you fit into your neighborhood, how you fit into the animals around you, and how they fit into a life with you. Okay? So, let's see if this clicker works. That's how I see myself. Okay? I have a nickname of Yoda, and some of you know my Facebook podcast is Ask Yoda. And this was only good before they invented Google. My wife says very correctly, now that there's a Google, she has no more need for me. And of course, I can't make a clicker work. So.
Always closer.
I'm not that young, so now that's more like I look like, okay? But in reality, this is a closer image here. The gecko caveman, okay? And now, the gecko caveman, everybody sees that as an insult. I think when it comes to nature, the gecko caveman had a lot more on us than we have on him, because he fit into his environment, understood his nature that was around him a lot better than we do. And remember, everybody sees, there was, 4 or 5 different species of humans on Earth at the same time. And we prevailed, as they said. We the last one standing. Okay, but that's not quite true, because Neanderthals, they had a much better acuity of sight. They had a much better acuity of hearing. And as you know, they were stronger. And they could move through their environment much better than we could. And they had a bigger brain than we had. And so you wonder, well, plus they were a lot sexier than you think they were, okay? We in Hollywood make them up like this, but they had something going for them, because I'm standing here with more degrees than a thermometer, and I'm 5% Neanderthal. 5% Neanderthal is more than most of you pretend to be Irish on St. Paddy's Day, or Italian when you're wanting to walk in a parade, okay? So what I'm saying is 5%'s a lot. And it's lasted all these years. It hasn't been dwindled down that much. That's how much Neanderthal DNA is in me. And I know people with 8%, 9%. So you're talking about, these guys must have been pretty sexy, because the only way that DNA gets passed on is what? Yeah, there was something going on back in those days, okay? And I don't know which side was which, but what I'm saying is, We're carrying their DNA today, so I promise you, they have not disappeared yet. Okay? Now I do have baby pictures. Okay? So but the little about myself. That's my real baby picture, and I'm not the baby. That's my little brother. I'm the one with his mouth open, talking, yelling. Nothing has changed, as you can see. Now, this is one of our biggest days of the year. This is Christmas, okay? And on Christmas, the biggest thing we do, that's my Uncle Frankie there, which was about our age. He was like the oldest brother. And then my brother that was in the middle, and then I'm that one, and there's my little brother. Well, that was a big thing, Monopoly Championship on Christmas. You notice the wood behind me is what? Yeah, it's a log cabin. Do you know where it's at? It's in the out back of Alaska. Okay? I never saw electricity or running water until I was in my teens. Okay? And I grew up around nothing but, and I never attended school. Yeah. My mother was a single mother at the time, and she was in Anchorage. She was a hostess of the Hofbrau, one of the most famous clubs in the world. Frank Sinatra, Joey, all the guys from back, they hung out there all the time. She was looking for a rich husband, and she found one, so that's how I guess I got to where I'm at. But anyway, that was the environment I grew up in. Every day I trapped and I hunted. You got your first gun when you were 6. You got a bigger gun when you were 7. You got a bigger gun when you were 8. You got your own traps when you were 7. You used snares when you were 5 and 6. And you always had a big-ass dog with you. Okay? And nobody kept track of you. You didn't go with somebody. You didn't go out in the woods with your brother. You didn't go out in the woods you went alone. That's the life. And so I grew up by fishing, trapping, hunting, and just enjoying life. Trying to make this thing work. Apologize. I was a soldier for a time. I was a pilot for a time. That's a Cherokee Big 6, multi-speed prop. Maggie can appreciate that. I love that plane, okay? Can you turn off the front lights? I don't know if they can or not. I have no control over anything in life, and I've come to be peaceful with that, okay? I simply go where I'm told and do what I'm told, okay? And my wife usually is in command of the mic at that time. Happy wife, happy life, okay? But anyway, Big 6, I enjoyed flying it all over the world, pretty much. You'd be surprised how far you can get island hopping and everything else. And I'd borrow one, but there is what I spent most of my research I'm in. And it's a ski plane 140 kind of runway, can run on snow, can run on ice. And I wrecked it a few times, but it's like, that one's in a lot better shape than mine was. Okay. Mine was beat up. I had no avionics in it. They were all knocked out on the floor, landed in the field. And I drove a little race car here and there, and I drove for Bentley. That was the Taste of Turbo. I introduced the Turbo Bentley. The reason they had me run the Winston Cup was they brought some English drivers over, and after 2 drivers put 2 Bentley in the wall at the Winston Cup track in Atlanta, Ted Turner recommended they come and get me, and I came down and drove for him the rest of the year. But hey, that's a great car. Has amazing suspension system. Never saw a production car could handle a Winston Cup track. I worked on Wall Street for quite a while. I started with Merrill Lynch, traded commodities at the same time through the J.C. Bradford accounts, commodities, Merck. I ended up going to Payne Weber. I was vice president of institutional trading for Payne Weber for a number of years. Even had my own broker deal. Hated Wall Street with a passion. I was good at it, but I hated it. Then met a guy while I was there doing business, raising money, called Peter Bond, and he asked me to come down to his company and look it over. I came down, He said, do whatever you want. I fired everybody in the place that day, and we started over again. I developed several patents. One was for a system. I had an undergraduate in physics, so it was fairly easy for me. And I had been doing it a little bit on my own. Developed a system that talks to ships, can talk to satellites, and they can talk to ground stations, and they can talk to anybody. Doesn't matter what the frequency it comes in on, whatever it comes in on, it goes out on. And we were able to accept all of it. It's called SIMBAD, Seaborne International Band Articulating Dialer. And then I developed a stabilization tower called Aerial Range Tower ART. And with that, we built Crestcom. And you see that dish right there? We ended up carrying all the backup for the transatlantic cable for AT&T. And you see that little sucker there? He's moved now, so I'm allowed to say this. He's in a different place. But that's all the security systems for the state of Israel. And that was all their communications. It came all the way to home. That is Homedale, New Jersey. That is Telegraph Hill. I think a lot of you from the north know the place very well. Now, one of the coolest things, there's two cool things here. One of the coolest things is when we were digging to put that system in right there, the engineer there, he had to be really smart. He knew what it was when he hit it. Found part of the lead line cable that Marconi actually used for the first transmission. It's now in the Smithsonian Institute. We got this position so that we had line of sight to Manhattan because we needed it to be able to cut down the radio traffic for the cabbies at the time. You know, but anyway, I knew New Jersey as nothing but a glowing pond you see outside the Newark airport. Okay, and then all of a sudden I'm on my way out. I can't believe we bought a place in New Jersey. I just can't believe it, because it was like, you know, halfway up there it turned into Connecticut. I mean, it was like white picket fences. Okay, I'll hang around here. I was in Washington for a while, and they went just the opposite. I was in Washington for a while, and I've been an independent, a Democrat, a Republican. Actually, that's Republican gold medal that I won. But I go everywhere in the world. I go whatever the cause is. I'm quite liberal now, so that's Capitol Hill Club. I don't have to tell you how many secrets pass there every year. You know, I could tell you, but probably have to kill you. I don't know. But most of you, if you Googled me, you saw that I was a film director. And that's what comes up most on Google. Is because film companies have these things that bring everything up on the internet. And that's the most unsuccessful thing I ever did in my life. Every bit of money I made on those satellites, I lost making movies, okay? So I'm a terrible film director. Yeah, I write pretty good, but you know, okay. But I was fortunate enough to get to direct and become very close friends with James Hong, this year's Academy Award winner, okay? And George Kennedy, who had been on one of my all-time favorites. We became very, very close friends until his death. And I was very close friends with his wife. And he was in the movie, I directed him. And then Philip Michael Thomas from Miami Vice. Hey, I directed Jimmy Doohan as a captain of a submarine. You know, Scotty from Star Trek. Yeah, you know. Beam me down, Scotty's what it became, rather than beam me up. But anyway, there was some fun back there. All this is going to lead to something. I met a lot of interesting people along the way, you know. But I found out I was a diver, always would be a diver. I dove all over the world, thousands of dives in every sea in the world. The Arctic, Antarctic, everywhere you can dive, I dove. And so I decided to head off back to graduate school. So I picked the best oceanographic center on the eastern seaboard, and that was the OC at Fort Lauderdale. That was what it was known as, still sort of what it's now. The OC is the Honolulu Natural of Science, blah, 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 blah. It's actually known, though, to a lot of you as the Guy Harvey Research Institute, okay? And that's Guy. It's also the National Coral Reef Institute. It does all the research. It's a very in-depth research. It's mostly graduate students. Almost everybody there is either working on a master's or PhD. People work for a long time to try to come there to teach. We're very lucky. I was very fortunate to get hooked up with this guy. He is retired now. His name's Dr. Bart Baca, one of the most intelligent, humble men you will ever meet in your life. And he would wear me out, going on wild goose chases in mangroves all over the world, lie to me about where they would come out, lie to me about how long the river was. Oh no, it's only 2 miles long. 16 miles later, I'd emerge at the other end trying to find his house. But anyway, he was a lot of fun to be with. He hated diving, so I ended up doing all the diving. So now Dave, you need to do this diving. There's always a reason, okay? But I owe him as my mentor and my start, okay? And I'm thankful, Dr. Bach. And he turned me on to this guy. Now, I've read Darwin before. I've read, his books and all, but he said, go back and read and tell me exactly what Charles Darwin was. And I got serious about it because I knew he'd be testing me. And it was that Charles Darwin was all the things it says there, a naturalist, a biologist, a geologist. He was an observer. He observed things. You don't figure out about all those finches unless you sit there in a chair somewhere now watching this finch forever, and that finch forever, and that finch forever, and then drawing them in the detail he drew them. You'll meet another taxonomist here in a minute that was very instrumental as well. But Darwin, nature is painting for us day after day pictures of infinite beauty. The environment is where we all meet, where all have a mutual interest. It is the one thing all of us share, like music and art. Love of nature is a common language that we can transcend political or social boundaries. And if you read that backwards, you see where it also goes back to us thinking the same way about the creatures that make up nature. Okay? I started by growing mangroves, okay? And I grew mangroves. I collected all the propagills and everything from, all over Florida, and I brought them back, and I put them to a process I wanted to get into to make sure they carried no parasites or diseases or anything else. And then we started replanting all the depleted mangroves in Florida. Okay? And we did very, very well at it. So well that we ended up doing it for the country of Ecuador and the country of Vietnam. When they started, they saw they could make money growing shrimp. What they do, they bulldoze all the coast and put in shrimp ponds up and down. Well, nobody had developed hatchery science by then, and they didn't realize that the only place you can get post-larval to raise in those ponds is in those mangroves you just bulldoze. So you got all these ponds, but you got no post-larva to put in those ponds. And so what we did is we did two things. We closed the cycle for shrimp, and meaning we can actually develop hatcheries and hatch our own shrimp. And at the same time, we replanted all the mangroves up and down the coast so that they would have a natural hatchery outside, and it would replenish their reefs and everything in front of their country, which was eroding away, and move all their ponds inland, away from the ocean. Believe me, land inland's a lot cheaper than land on the coast, okay? You get less environmental problems, there's no hassle, you got better security, a lot of things. And we developed the science for that. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine, Mr. Maglione, and myself hold one of the first patents on a clean hatchery system. We're very proud of that. Shrimp is what I wanted to grow, and it's what I grew. I had to learn how to grow shrimp though, and I had to do a lot of research. How do you grow shrimp inland? How do you grow shrimp away from the ocean? And so I was sent by Dr. Baca off to the Everglades, right? And in the Everglades, I went as Napoleon went in. Man, I was feeling my stuff when I took off. I was all packed. And I was just traipsing off to the Everglades with my tent and my hammock and all the stuff. And when I got there, this is what I looked like. If you've ever met an Everglades mosquito, okay? You can tape your wrist, you can tape your cuffs, you can tape your neck, you can wear nets, gloves, everything you can. It will not stop an Everglades mosquito. And they're by the billions there. And I had to do years of research, little plastic tubs, build my own research lab, put up my own tents and raceways. But that's where the science came from. But I got to know nature quite well in the Everglades. And that is where I put my first research, my R&D farm. You guys know where it's at, right? You see Fort Myers there, right? Just straight down close to Hatching. And we're right there at Ruskin, okay? And that's important for you to understand. You see this greenway here? This greenway? These greenways are built on purpose by the state so that animals can roam freely, okay? And be in wooded areas or swamps or wetlands most of the time. So almost all of those connect to several different state parks, okay? And so whatever is in this river, and this river is in this river, it's in this river. It's in our river right here. And by the way, the Little Mandy River runs right along our property here. A lot of you live just off it a few feet, okay? And our water pond system actually has outlets there, okay? And those are state waters, okay? Something to remember. And these ponds out here, they're not our ponds. These are state property, that's state ponds. And they connect to a very fragile ecosystem out there, okay? So, you know, it's important to understand, and they have a rule. You gotta have 4 feet above the high water line in grass and natural habitat. And it's important to understand, oh, I'm cooking the wrong thing. That was my first R&D facility. Those are all, that was what came out of that river right behind my ponds. And they're in the same size as behind your houses as well. No, seriously, they are. I promise you, because we took lots of big ones out. But those ponds right there, those are 1 hectare, about 2.5 acres each. These are a little different, they're settling ponds. But we proved the system, and in proving it, we got a contract with Publix to provide all the organic shrimp for them, and we kept that contract for decades. And we also got the contract for Wild Oats, Whole Foods, Disney, Wegmans, King's, and we produced all the organic shrimp in America for a long time. And we had the only commercialized, certified organic shrimp. And we did that by growing its own food, and that food was blue tilapia, like you have here in the ponds. Okay? Those blue tilapia, I grew them by the millions, and I ground them up, and I made fish meal out of them. And they grew to their size on sun energy alone. They ate algae, Synodesma and so forth out of the ponds, and the only thing that provided that energy was the sun And so it was purely organic and went back into the shrimp. And that's how it's done. Well, that's the easy version. And there's a gator. Folks, that's a big gator. That's not a state record, but it's very close. And there was one bigger that was caught there at the same place. And and these are on your golf course out there. My wife is a witness. We watch the gators, and we watch out for big gators when they come, especially during mating season. That's when they start roaming, right? You know, they get that spring feeling going in them, you know. And they get big boys, they go off wandering pond to pond to pond. And they'll also do so in look of food, but when it's mating season, they're not looking for food. Okay, and their food is young gators that happen to be in that pond. And to one the size you just saw, a young gator can be 6 foot. And big gators eat small gators. You know, the truest license plate ever put out was not that the Lions beat the Buccaneers. You sorry, no good for nothing. But anyway, now it's the little fish being eaten by the bigger fish being eaten by the bigger fish. You know the one, right? Everybody's seen the sticker, everybody's seen the license plate. There is nothing truer in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to see is it is a war out there. It is the bloodiest, cold, harshest war in the world. It is the war for survival amongst every species on earth, including us. And we are battling in that war just like they are. But they are battling like it was the Middle Ages and they have broad blade axes, okay? That's the fight that's going on every day in your ponds, behind your house, and in the woods, alongside your house, and on the streets, in front of your house, in your yard, your driveway. It's going on right now. Now, this big boy, my wife and I saw one that I'm hard to impress, okay, when it comes to big gator. You can imagine, right? I used to be the biologist for Weston's set-asides down there, and you think I saw a lot of big gators, saw a lot of big snakes, saw a lot of big gators. But this thing stood up and started walking from the pond. We live on Loxley Street, started walking from our pond across the way, legs all the way up. And I swear it looked like something out of Jurassic Park. Okay? And it was like, I could not believe that big gator was sitting here in the middle of the neighborhood. But they do. And they're pretty harmless. You stay out of their way, they'll stay out of your way. How about this guy? You guys know what it is? What is it? Fire ant. Yeah, oh my goodness gracious. You guys walk along the empty golf courses and stuff? How many times you accidentally stood there, started talking to your friends, and realized, oh my God, you know? And it's too late by then, right? By the time you go, oh my God, they're already up your leg and already bit you. You got those little pustulas and everything you got to take care of. It's a war. You are in their zone. It's a war and they got you. Okay, you're a victim. You want to know what you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen? You're looking at the single most successful creature, animal that has ever existed on this planet. It's not the dinosaurs. It's not the ones before the dinosaurs. It's not the great apes. It's not the polar bears. It's not us, for damn sure. Excuse me. It's the fire ant. And the fire ant is moving. He's right now between what is a belt around the world from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn. And he hangs out in that, but he's moving further north each day. And he burrows a little deeper, stay a little warmer, but he is pretty soon going to get all the way to the state of Washington within a matter of decades. And so you're talking about, they build these homes under the ground, right? These labyrinths of tunnels everywhere. If it rains, they drown, so they come up. And if it floods, what do? They form bridges amongst each other. They put little air pockets underneath themselves, and they form bridges, and nobody dies. They just float with the water until it gets done. The water goes down, they go back, they build another home. And every queen puts out 4 or 5 more queens every season to start new ones. And those put out 4 or 5, and those put out 4 or 5 ones. And this is, by convention of world scientists, the most successful creature that has ever existed on the earth. Okay? It's not the bees. It's not Tyrannosaurus rex, you know? It's fire. Now, can you guys tell me what's the most deadly animal in the animal kingdom? I mean, the one that will kill you fast, the one that will rip you to shreds.
Mosquito.
There's that. You got it, sir. You got it. Mosquito. Mosquito is the deadliest creature, animal on earth. Right there. That's your blood sucking right there. Do you know how many diseases and viruses he's carrying in that? That needle and that blood that's getting you up there? It's a war, and you're losing. How many people have been bit by a mosquito here? Raise your hand. Oh my God, he got them all. It was a slaughter. Is there nobody left to man the station? You know? He's a bad, bad boy. Okay? And actually, it isn't a boy. Only the females are going to bite you. Okay? You bad girls. You knew it was the women all along, didn't you? Yeah. They're the ones killing them, all the people. How many people do you reckon it killed? 10 million people a year. Yeah, 10 million people a year. That little bugger killed. Do you know how many infects, makes sick, changes their lives forever, malaria and everything? 500 to 700 million a year. He's pretty good at what he does, isn't he? He's deadly. He is deadly. So, something you ought to know. And let me tell you, a lot of the creatures you're about to meet, they're the ones that keep those guys down. Okay? They're the ones that do all the heavy lifting for them. But the population of mosquitoes is running on. Whoa! That isn't going to work very well. And I don't do very well. So. Let me see if I can get this back here and get this back. The population of mosquitoes is growing along Florida's population of people and brings disease like dengue fever and malaria. Climate change is sending non-native invasive mosquito species to North America, specifically Florida. Mosquitoes have infected 4 people with malaria in Sarasota County over the past month. And half a coop of sentinel chickens near Orlando tested positive for Eastern equine encephalitis several weeks ago. And the Florida Department of Health has issued a statewide mosquito-borne illness alert, especially since the summer rainy season in Florida equates with skyrocketing mosquito populations and has just started. And that's from just a few weeks ago. Okay? So it's not something over there. Okay? It's not Africa. It's not India. It's not Indochina. It's the whole world. Okay? And believe me, if you think mosquitoes can't tolerate the cold, you didn't grow up in Alaska, okay? It's fortunate though in Alaska, we can shoot them and kill them and eat them. They're the size of turkeys. They got quills like porcupines. I sometimes exaggerate. But it didn't feel like I was exaggerating. I do got to tell you a story. A little boy came up from the lower 48. He was visiting our grandfolks, come to their place. We weren't at our homestead, we were at theirs. It's close to Wasilla. You know Wasilla, it's where Palin lives. Yeah. Wasilla, back when we were there, Wasilla had 64 people. Now it has 52,000. Okay? Can you believe that crap? Okay, anyway, we took him out half a mile into the woods, okay? Just so he'd have the Alaska camp, you know. And we put him in his sleeping bag, which was a mummy bag properly. We zipped everything up properly. And the boy couldn't stand the claustrophobia, so he zipped it down and stuck his head out. Well, this was a boy from the Appalachia, okay? But you would have swore he was from mainland China when he woke up the next morning. His eyes were so shut, his face was ballooned out round, and we looked at him, scared us to death, first of all. And we're like, we can't take this kid back to our grandparents. If his folks see us, well, we're dead. And our relatives actually killed children. They had plenty of them. You know, they could spare one or two. So we weren't going to take him back. Finally, after waiting an hour or 2 hours, we marched him back, and his mother, I still hear that scream in my sleep at night when she saw him. He, of course, recovered. It took him a week, but he recovered. But that's what mosquitoes, just on an open head of a sleeping bag, can do to you. So, you see that dot right there? That was my next farm. That was my production farm. You see that dot? That's you. Now, do you see the connection? The green connection? This is right, you know where the Panther Preserve is off I-75, right? Everybody knows where it's at. If you've ever traveled down Alligator Alley, there's a Panther Preserve you see there. That is right behind the Panther Preserve. It's in what's called the Devil's Garden. Okay? There's a reason they call it that. When I went there and built this facility, there was no electricity, there was no water, there was no nothing there. There was a road out in the middle of nowhere. And the only thing close you could get to in about 30 or 40 minutes was the Muskogee gas station. It's on 75 by going down Snake Road. And anyway, that's where we built. And I'm telling you this so you get an idea of how close you are to everything in nature. That's a facility. Now, those are much bigger ponds. Those are 4-acre ponds apiece. I had 2,000 acres there. And because we had lots of grocery stores, we had our own processing plant in Clewiston, and we did everything there. And all that water that you see running, this is water we went down to the Florida Aquifer, the very deep section nobody uses because it's bad for plants, too salty to drink. It's about 2 parts, 3 parts per thousand. It's fresh water, but we had to learn how to grow marine shrimp in fresh water. And I pioneered that and pioneered the commercial production of it. And these were the production ponds for that. But that same water got used 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years without ever being disposed of. We just refurbished our water through the use of bacteria and aeration and proper management. So there's no reason aquaculture facilities or anything else has to waste the water that they waste. Have a lot of those down there. Now what is that? Eastern diamondback rattlesnake. Now, that maybe kills quite a few people. If you're going to be killed by a snake in America, or North America for that part, it's probably going to be this guy. Okay, we got 6 or 7 poisonous snakes here in Florida, and everybody knows about the coral snake. It's got the most deadly venom of anything, and it does. Its venom is off the scale, man. Bad stuff. I'll tell you about it in a second. This is a guy you got to watch out for. The little pygmy rattler might bite you too. Probably not going to die from him. Probably not going to die for this if you get in and get seen very quickly, okay? But people with heart conditions, I have noticed that most all the deaths this past year were men from the age of 50 to 80. And I don't know if it's because they have bad hearts, or they're just the ones out there tripling in the grass without looking where they're going, or they just didn't like men of that age. Okay, so these Eastern Diamondback Rattler, you have the Copperhead. Copperheads killed a few people in the United States this year, not many. And well, there's a couple other rattlesnakes, Cottonmouth kills very few. I've been bitten by a cottonmouth 9 times. And I only got really sick twice. And that only lasted for about 3 or 4 days after. But I did have some swelling on twice. That was pretty bad for over a week. But sometimes I got bit, no effect whatsoever, okay? So, but you get in, you be seen, okay? And that pretty much is the snakes you have to worry about here. It's a war out there, folks. I mean, it's a war, okay? Leave the snakes alone. How do you tell if a snake is venomous or not? It's got like that pie-shaped head, right? Triangular head. Very triangular head, okay? It's got a round head, except for course. It's got a round head. It's not poison, okay?
Didn't hear that. Use the mic.
Oh, if it's got a round head, it's probably not poisonous, okay? Except for the coral snake, and we'll go through that in a minute. But if you see one with a triangular head, and you know what a viper looks like, right? He's got that triangular head because he's a pit viper. He's got those fangs that go in, and then he swallows big things, loosens that jaw, swallows big things, okay? But let him swallow rats and your cat or something else, but not your leg, okay? So, this, what do you think about this? It's not a coral snake. It's a scarlet king snake. See, it's got the round head there? Okay? It's got the yellow and black and red stripes, right? Rings around it. And what's the saying? Everybody say it. Forget about that. Red and yellow kill a fellow. That's all you got to remember. Red and yellow kill a fellow. So if that red touches that yellow, it'll kill you. Everybody got that? It's easy to remember, not I mean, all my people on my father's side for over 6,000 years come from a little town in Ireland called Limerick, Ireland. So I know every Limerick in the world. Maybe 2,000. There's not one single one I can say in this company, okay? So don't try to memorize a limerick. Just remember, red and yellow kill a fellow, okay? Let's take a look. This is the coral snake. And see how the yellow and the red touch? Now, I say these bad things about it. He'll kill you, and he's got the worst venom in the country. And it's all true, but there's one thing, he's not a pit viper. So for him to bite you, he's not a very big snake. For him to bite you, he's got to be necking with you almost. Okay? He's got to be trying to give you a hickey on your neck, you know? It's really hard for him to bite and get teeth in and sink it in. That's not to say you should be going and picking up the damn thing, okay? You see a coral snake, you leave it alone and walk the other way. Do not kill snakes. Okay? Snakes need all the protection they can get because they protect us. As long as we don't step on them, harass them, or pick them up. Okay? So, it's very unlikely. Coral snakes kill very few people each year. And it's usually some lady gardening and it's on one of the limbs and it bites her like right. Gives her a hickey. Her lash level. Now, if you do get bit by a coral snake, get your ass to a hospital fast. Okay? So, before going jumping in the water, this is what, that's sorry, wrong slide. You know, you're probably not going to see that if you jump in the ponds out there. But that will be waiting for you, okay? So the best thing I can say is, if you do want to swim with gators, because there's some people in here, and I know which ones of you it is. I see these guys out there going, I can swim with gators. I ain't afraid of gators, I can swim with gators. If you want to swim with gators, that's fine. And I recommend this particular group of gators here. They're much better to swim with, okay, than the others. So just go down to the beach. They're down there, you know. And so what I'm trying to say is, stop before you leap, okay? Because the outcome of that leap may not be exactly what you want. Okay? So do try to do that. Because, and by the way, you guys, when you're going down for those other gators I recommended, I know what each of you guys think you look like when you go to the beach. That's what you think you look like. Okay? Now I've been looking at y'all in here. Here's a reality check. Okay? So anyway, I just want you forewarned, you know, but, you know, it's better than the other gators, believe me. Now, we're talking about big critters. We're talking about the big animals. What's the one we all love? Did you notice I wasn't roaring, was I? Because they don't roar. They are a mountain lion, but they do not roar. They are a mountain lion, they are a cougar, they are a panther. Okay? And as a matter of fact, there is such things as, I know everybody tell you there's no such thing as a black panther. They only occur in South America in jaguars and so forth. That's not true. Now this is what you normally see in Florida as the Florida panther. Okay? Now this Florida panther is a combination, because we got down not too many years ago down to about 20, population down to about 20 in the entire world, this particular subspecies of the Florida puma panther. And what they did was they went and got the mountain lions and cougar from Texas, West Texas, and they brought them out here. About 40 of them, they bred them to the others, and they've been very successful. We got a population up to about 200 now, which is a lot better than 20, right? But, you know, it's rough out there. There's lots of things that can kill even a panther out there. And, but back to the Black Panther thing. What do you think about this? Now, what that is there is a morphism in that particular subspecies that produces black patches on all baby panthers, or most of the baby panthers when they're born, okay? But as they grow up and hit juvenile stuff, those dots fade away. As a matter of fact, can you see on the mother? She used to have dots there, you see what I'm saying? She still has black there, she still has black there, she still has a black streak there, inside ears. Sometimes that black is everywhere and it doesn't go away. And we have a very, very, very rare Black Panther, okay? So they usually don't last too long, but they're out there, okay? You will probably never ever see one. Most forest guys or everybody's guys will go a lifetime and not see one. But I have seen not a black panther, but it was a black panther. I call it a skunk panther because the one I saw was black all in here, black all the way down there, a little bit of tan down the sides, a little bit of white underneath. And that was from a halfway woman. You see what I'm saying? And that was at the end of that production facility in the Devil's Garden, which is right behind their preserve. Okay, the Panther Preserve. Yeah. So I did see a lot of other panthers, and Most of the time when you see a panther wears jewelry. I mean, this is what you will see if you do get lucky enough to spot a Florida panther. They'll be wearing this jewelry because most of the panthers are collared and tracked. So we can keep track of where they are, what animals killing them, what animals eating, what they're eating, and so forth, okay? Now, they're usually not green. I think this is a gay panther. He's got his jewelry is got, normally it's a tan collar, and I thought it was making him look a little bit like a St. Bernard when they first started this, because the radio collars were like this big. I'm going, damn, is he going to rescue somebody in the glades? I mean, what are you doing? You know, it's the next. So I grew up in Alaska. You see a critter like that with a J, better be full of rum, okay? But now that's not the only big cat in Florida. We got the Lynx rufus, and that is the bobcat, okay? Now, anybody in here got a big house cat? None of you? Good. Yeah, I don't like cats. Yeah. Big. You know if it's big. Does it corner you in your own home? Yeah, if one corners you in your own home, makes you agree to go buy a certain food and be back by a certain time, that's a big house cat. Well, this guy's about 2 to 3 times that size. Okay? So, now, I've already told you that there's other predators out there, right? Well, this is a really good predator. He can jump so fast, you wouldn't believe it. He can, and what's he eat a lot of? He does eat a lot of rodents. He does eat bunny rabbits. Yeah, the little cute ones. He doesn't eat the ugly ones. He only eats the cute ones. You guys know the little bunny up by the South Club, right? Comes out every day and goes to the same place and goes back in. He's found one place that the bobcat doesn't get in, the gator won't go over to, and he's not leaving that place. Because a bunny is dinner for everybody out there, okay? Now, you have to be careful because we have an even scarier critter out there. I mean, I'm talking about vicious. Vicious in every way. Yeah. Oh, sorry, wrong slide again. That's ours, okay? Not quite the same thing, right? You know, they're cute little black bears, and we got a state full of them here. And they run the entire state. They run all the way out of the state. But we got a bunch of bears. And I've seen a bear within a mile of here. And there was one, last year that took over the Tampa airport. That was funny as hell. But no, they stick to themselves, they're loners. But if they're hungry and they smell food, or even if they're not hungry and they smell food, they're like Yogi Bear. Remember Yogi? You got sandwiches out, Yogi's coming to lunch, you know, whether you like it or not. And if you think, do you know how acute the smelling is on a bear? Yeah. If there's a bear 30 miles from here, he knows which one of you in here ate beans last night. Okay? And he's probably waiting for you outside the door. Okay? So, it's much easier to suspend. Just take your cooler, make sure there's nothing in your tents, nothing in your car. Cook away from your camp, okay? If you go out to the state park, cook away from your camp. Then just take and have a net bag around your cooler, bring it up, throw a rope over the tree limb, and put it up about 15 feet in the air, tie it off. He's not the smartest. Yogi was not the smartest one in the group, was he? No, he wasn't. Yeah, even with his little fellow, they were still pretty dumb. And he's not the brightest guy in the world. They haven't got the biggest brain in the world. And they can't see worth a damn. but they can smell really well. But it's like you. How many in here like Big Macs? Anybody in here like Big Macs? No, they're all dead, I guess, already. Anybody in here like ribeye steaks? Okay. You like ribeye steaks? Well, if I came here and I served you a ribeye steak right here and said, hey, enjoy, you would dig in and eat it, wouldn't you? Now, if I suspended that ribeye steak from that rafter up there and I said, now go get it, you'd probably just soon eat a Big Mac and be on your own, wouldn't you? Well, that's the same way it is for a bear. He's not going to go all the trouble because he'd just soon eat the seats out of your Buick. Okay? And if you think they're all little bitty bears like this, they're not. That is a Florida black bear. And the Florida black bear gets 500, 600, 700 plus pounds. Can you imagine the power? And it's hard to describe, okay? But Ursus means powerful in my language, not in Latin. But in my language, anything that's got Ursus in front of it means powerful. I grew up around what? No. Grizzlies. I did grow up around polar bears sometime, and I did bush pilot around polar bears other times. I am not getting anywhere in the realm around a polar bear. You have to be out of your mind if you're even in the same burrow. We have burrows in West. In the same burrow with a polar bear, because they're mindless killers and they can't stop them. Now, let me tell you, with a grizzly bear, anybody know what you do if this bear attacks you? Okay, we had every answer in the world there. Let's go do it. Some of you are right. Yes, you stand your ground. Okay? You don't get on the ground, lay down, and play dead like you do with a grizzly. With a grizzly, that's what you do, and he's going to bite you. You let him bite you, but you don't move. With a black bear, you can't do that. You make yourself big, and you hold your ground, and you make yourself loud. Okay? Now, if he does attack you, you fight with everything you got in the world. I mean, everything you got in the world, picking up everything, gouge his eyes, do everything. You know, you may get where you will get to a point he wants to leave you alone. Doesn't matter how big or small you are, you fight with everything you got. You never run, especially not at the beginning if they see you. It's just like a fight or flight syndrome in a bear. It's an automatic attack if you run from a bear, okay? And I mean, that's my best advice on bears, okay? So I'll give you a story. My uncle, I got an Uncle Larry, he's passed away now. Big guy, I mean, dwarfs me, big. When he was young, he was all muscles. Powerful, powerful guy. We were out at one of the homesteads, and my grandfather came up with a stupid idea of growing pigs in Alaska. Can you imagine what a pig is to a bear? Okay, are you kidding me? I put bacon in front of that guy right there. He'll probably knock me out and rip my arm off to get it. Can you imagine what a bear would do to get that bacon? Okay? And so anyway, they were killing all the bears. We finally got permission from the state to kill the bears. They're coming into place. They allowed us to put them in one trap, so the rest of them we had to shoot. They were all coming in at night, generally. And that day we were setting things up, we're doing, and around the corner, I'm up on top of the chicken coop, okay? I'm getting up there ready to shoot bears that night. I'm getting my place all set up. As you can see, I do that. Been doing it since I was a kid. And a bear comes around the corner at the coop I'm sitting on, and Larry's down there, right? And just attacks him straight away. Well, Larry picks up a 2x4, and he's expecting my Uncle Ray, his brother, to shoot him. His older brother, he's expecting to shoot the bear because he's got a gun. This is a boy that hunts Alaska every day. He put the wrong shells in his pocket. That's when you got too many damn guns, when you can't keep track of what shells. He's got the wrong shells in his pocket. He said, hold it, I'll run back in and get the other shell. So he runs back up and runs back in the other trailer. And Larry is sitting here, fist to cuffs with his big ass black bear, and the black bear is winning. There ain't no doubt about that. He's hit him. Larry's hard to put down, boy. This is a big, bad boy. And I don't know if the Price of Right was on or something, but my uncle didn't show back up. It was like 2.5, 3 minutes before he came out of there, finally had a shot and shot the bear. Needless to say, Larry didn't put that 2x4 down. He turned, looked at his brother, said 3 minutes to get a bleep, bleep, bleep shell, and they took off. Now, this whole time I was on top of the chicken coop, and I didn't come down to help Larry when that bear attacked him. I wasn't a very big boy, but I still, I was pretty good in a fight. But I know who to fight and who not to fight, okay? And so I didn't come off that chicken coop. And when my Uncle Ray, shot that bear, and Larry went after Ray, I stayed on that chicken coop too. That was another fight I didn't want to be a part of, okay? That's what you do with black bear. Now, there's some other bad actors out there. You guys know this one, right? Now, this is an invasive species called the Burmese python. And they are bad actors. They don't belong in an environment, but I'm here to tell you they're here to stay. And they're going to keep moving north every year, further and further and further and further. So they have a long ways they can move, okay? Now, they can't stand to freeze, so how do they do it? You go into what?
Torpor.
Sort of. They go biologically that way. They shut down everything. They're not asleep, they just shut down the biology. Not quite like a bear. Bear's not real. Yeah, they're similar to turtle. And guess where they're at? They're in those turtle holes. They're underground. And they stay warm by going underground, okay? And then they come up. So eventually, they will find their way. They'll do mud banks, they'll do whatever they need further and further and further north, okay? Burmese python is very unique in that they are up to 200 pounds. Can you imagine a 200-pound snake wrapped around you? Now, they're constrictors. They're not poisonous. They're just going to get around you. No matter what you do, you can't stop them from getting around you. I've tried. I've taken 1,000 Burmese pythons out of the Everglades. And some of the big ones, I don't care who you are, how strong you are, how big you are, how many friends you got. You can't keep that thing from getting around you. And when they constrict you, you cannot breathe. I mean, you're talking about muscles. And they're over 20 foot in length. 20 feet's long. Huh? That's 20 feet. That's 20 feet. Really? You want a snake this big around? 20 feet long, wrapped around you? Okay? They got a 20-year lifespan and clutches up to 100 eggs every 2 to 4 years. The reason none, like others think, they don't do clutches every year. Burmese python are very unique. The young, when they're born with the eggs in them, a lot of the yolk is inside the actual snake when they get out of the shell. So they're living off that yolk that's inside them, even after they're out of the shell. And that mother is protecting them for the next 2 years to make sure the clutch gets off okay. Okay, sometimes longer. So they're protective like a female blue tilapia mouse brooder. She'll lay eggs, they'll be fertilized by the male, she'll pick them up in her mouth and brood them there and hatch them there and put them out to enjoy the playground. If danger comes, sucks them right back in her mouth and keeps them there. That's the reason blue tilapia are so successful. They are the most widely grown fish in the world. They're from the Tropic of Cancer also to the Tropic of Capricorn, and they are moving in both directions. One, because of global warming, and two, because they're learning to adapt to their environment and making the most of it, okay? And same way with the snakes. 300,000 Florida population and growing. It's 305,000, right? 310 now. About 315 now. So, a lot of snakes out there. And this is just one big bad one, okay? But it's prettier than some of our population. That's another one of our friends. Now that friend is fairly easy to see. It's your night vision scope. Go down and look behind where the archery ranges are, back in that group down there. Some of the yards back down in the other areas. They've torn up how many yards in Kings Point already? These are better. This is your friendly feral hog, okay? And that's what they do to your yard. You've seen that, right? Okay? And that's thanks to the feral hogs. They're getting their acorns, and that's generally what they look like. Okay, that's a fairly average. Now, they are mean suckers. I mean, they got a temperament. I mean, really. They got a temperament. I would say what it's like, but I can't get away with it. So, and you think you can handle that little pig? Can you imagine trying to handle that little pig if you try cornering him or you accidentally cornered him? He's got tusks this long, okay, in 3 different areas. Is that 6 tusks coming at you with? You know? And just bad temper. But sometimes they're bigger. Okay? And this is not even Hogzilla. This isn't even the state record. Okay? Now let me ask you a question. You make that one. Yeah, I need you to make it. The guy just looking at the size of the belly on there, and I'm one of you guys for the bacon. I could live. I'm ketogenic, so I could really go to town on him, okay? You know? He looks like my kind of hog. Now, if my grandfather had raised that size of hog, the bears wouldn't have been no damn problem. Okay? So, but anyway, just be aware that the house you see moving through the trees isn't necessarily a house moving at you. It's not a F-150 with side panels on it. It's this guy, the feral hog. Okay? And Florida feral swine, pig, boar, piney, wood rooter, they're all the same critter. Okay? And they're all bred, inbred, and everything else. So they're all the same. Anyway, Florida state records 1,100 plus pounds, sexually mature 6 to 8 months. Okay? 6 to 8 piglets per litter. Florida population is more than 500,000. Now, I told you about, growing up that grass. The golfers don't like it because they can't, go in there safely and hit it out of the rough because there could be a gator right there in the water, right? Well, there's certain size gators that don't care. And you ain't going for that ball no matter where it's at, even if it's in the middle of the green or fairway, right? But that is Florida. And he is the apex king of Florida. Okay? He rules Florida. Let's talk pets for a minute. Is that a cute puppy? That is adorable, isn't it? Yeah. That's adorable. You know what pets are to gators? Dinner. Okay? And you guys have seen cats take on dogs, right? Big old dog will come out of a cat, and the cat will go, shh. Yeah. Well, that works with the dog, because the dog's like, what are you, stupid? Yeah. What's he doing? The cat's like, oh. The dog's like, yeah. If he does that to a gator, oh, that's a very short story, okay? It's a very short, it's a very short. I don't think that's a real photo, so I don't think you have to worry too much about it. I didn't want to show you what the real one looked like. We have to clean up puke in here if the cat was with our group. So, hey, wait a minute, all you dog owners, y'all walking your dog around the pond on a leash, and that dog's walking ashore. You know what a boxer is to a big gator? Lunch. Okay? Now, hell, you think you can stop a gator with that leash? You can't even stop your dog. So you don't stand no chance, but if instead of putting that leash around your wrist, you lay it over your hand. And that way, you're not actually in danger except getting a ticket for feeding the gators. Because the dog ain't coming back, but at least you can run while he's eating the dog. Okay? So if you got a dog you don't like, you don't want to pay to have him put down, put him on a leash, walk him around the pond. Okay? That's pretty much the answer to that problem. I'm just saying, do what you want to do. Oh yeah, and all you people with Labrador, Golden Retriever is the most popular dog in America out there people get. So all you people want to get your labs and you go and you throw the stick in the water, right? And the dog goes and gets it, comes back and goes, is that what you want me to do? Hey, do it again. And you're dumb enough to do it again. Well, let me ask you a question. What do you think the end of this story is going to be? No, seriously, what do you think it is? Have you ever seen a predator when he gets a hold of prey? And you want to know one of the most devastating ones? That one. Your house cat. That little kid who was out there fighting with a gator, he's got an instinct that automatically he is going to attack. He's going to track. He's going to stalk. And he's going to attack. If you don't believe me, take a pink baby's booty, tie it on a string to a stick, and wave it over a cat. Have you ever seen one that didn't jump up and try to kill that baby's booty? No. In fact, people have made millions of dollars making machines that do that or hang from poles. It's an instinct. And they are out there ravaging our bird populations, especially some of those that are endangered. And we have a large population of feral cats too. And those are the cats that the cat was too smart to stay on the leash by the pond and ran off. Okay? And they know to leave the gator alone. But they're killing our lizards, especially our birds. They're very, very impactful on our birds. It's almost a violation of the Migratory Bird Act, the amount of birds that they kill. It's really bad down where I went to graduate school, Fort Lauderdale, because the people go out every night with their tuna fish cans and feed the feral cats when they should be going out with their shotgun and getting rid of the bird murderers. Okay? They should have had the cat fixed before they put it out. But anyway, that is the big murderer. Boy, you can tell by looking in their eyes, can't you? Who? They go after them too. They go after them when they're little. Sandhill crane, another one of our tall persons, right? One of the ones we'd love to see here. You guys like the big birds we have here?
Yes.
Now, every one of you people will stop for 45 minutes and wait for that sandhill crane to get out of the way. Even those idiots in the trailers with the big white trucks and all that, they'll stop and wait for them. I don't know what they would do if somebody would run over one. They'd hunt them down, string them up. I mean, it'd just be ugly to watch. But y'all wait, okay? But we have an even more majestic bird here, the bald eagle. And I've seen many bald eagles here. You need to start looking for them in case you don't. You probably think they're all vultures or something. Well, the bald eagle's up there flying around. And I come from Alaska. Alaska has the largest population of bald eagles any place in America, North America. And we have them along some rivers where they're just thick. I mean, thick like egrets sitting along the spine. They're just, because that's where the food is, right? So they'll go along that river where the salmon are coming in, and they'll get fat and happy, okay? So I grew up just loving bald eagles. And you know what bald eagles love? They love those pets too, especially those little dogs. And man, you were showing me about the size of your cat. I want you to look at this picture. You tell me honestly, that was your last cat, right? You thought it went for a walk and didn't come back.
Doesn't go out.
Yeah, he saw the other one go out. He ain't going out. But we have other critters out there that the bald eagle preys on, and the other critters prey on other critters. And they grow up to be big, and they go after pets too. And that is the foxes. We have a pretty strong fox population here in Kings Point, Sun City Center, don't we? Now, we went to the mange about 3 years ago, remember? A lot of the fox dens got the mange really bad. It was very sad to see, but it went away that year, and they came back pretty strong. I know Lancaster too, where they put their signs up, and they got the big fat turkey on Thanksgiving, and they got Santa Claus, on Christmas. And underneath that sign, in that hill that their sign is on, they had a den in there for years. And they produced a lot of kits, and they were really cute, and they come out. And they're always in front of our house, going along the edge, because we're at the largest pond, and we're in the middle of the largest pond. And I sit there all day watching foxes. Anyway, and do you know what a cat looks like to a fox? Dinner. Not lunch. For a fox, it's a much bigger meal, so it's dinner. Okay? So, now that cat's going to stay there in his, isn't it? It may work on the fox. It may not. But I wouldn't want to be the cat in this situation. Okay? But that fox doesn't always win. He ate that cat last week, right? And so he was going to try it again this week. And it didn't work so well. Which introduces us to another one of our fellow inhabitants here, and that's the skunk. And we have a lot of skunks all throughout the state. But the skunk is sort of on a critical list of needing the most maintaining in order to keep the population because of the way they make and stuff. So if you ever want to help the skunk populations out in Florida, go to Fish and Wildlife and check out their websites and join their committees or whatever to support the skunks. I heard that. A lot of you women have been supporting skunks for years. No, I meant this kind of skunk, okay? And because you got to admit, they're sort of fun, aren't they? Now, it's sort of fun unless you've been sprayed by one. You piss one off, he can spray 15 feet and get you right between the eyes. Okay, just so that you know. And boy, it don't come off in the shower. And you will never, as a matter of fact, if you're by yourself, you will strip naked right in the middle of Kings Point. Because your house, your mom's not going to let you in those clothes in that house. You will put them in a garbage bag, naked as a jaybird, and you will put it in your car to take and get rid of it. And you will be hosed down, and then you may be allowed in the garage. Okay? I'm forewarning you guys. If you go out fishing and hunting, you think, oh, she'll take care of me. You've never smelled a skunk. So, this is why. This is the most invasive species we have in Florida. Okay? Yankees. Them damn Yankees. If you're here and you're above the Mason-Dixon line, you're an invasive species. Okay? Now, the problem with that is You guys come down here, you have a good time, you come back to the clubs, and we live in one of the best neighborhoods and clubs in America. I mean, our country clubs, and this is you guys at the club. And this is probably an actual picture of you guys at the club, okay? And the drinks are up, and you're having a good time, and you immediately proceed to go out and get in this, okay? This, and then you proceed to be the #1 killer of most of our wildlife in the state of Florida. And that is this, okay? Now, how many people have seen this site on Kings Boulevard? Raise your hand. Everyone. There's nobody who hasn't seen this exact site on Kings Boulevard, okay? If you can't miss a squirrel, you're going too fast or you're too old to drive. Okay, let's get it one way or another, okay? So, now, the foxes and possums didn't do so much better either, okay? You know, they just lose. But, you know, occasionally one gets even. This deer impaled the driver and the passenger both as it went through the windshield. So, you know, it's like, and sometimes it's just a draw, okay? Sometimes it's just, okay, we'll call that a draw, okay? Very seldom do you see one of these in the neighborhood, though, you know? But I tell you, it's valuable. Yeah, I'm not talking about the horn on the right, I'm talking about the body of that. Well, that's worth a fortune. But we live in a very peaceful, wonderful neighborhood, and we just have to make room on the walkways for our friends. They get along together, don't they? You know? No, it's a war out there, I keep telling you. It's a war, it's a terrible war. We're going to go faster here. Hey, if you think the birds are safe, you're wrong. You guys get the birds as well, okay? You know, bird was up there, thought he was safe. That golf cart got him. We have our form of muskrat beaver, sort of a mix. They're fun. I've seen several of them here, especially along the backwater area here. We got bats, which is our best friend in getting rid of mosquitoes, okay? We got a lot of bats here. They come out at night and they just slaughter the mosquitoes. It's a war, ladies and gentlemen, a war, okay? And the raccoon. It's not a war for the raccoon. It's just being like the gladiator thrown in the ring waiting to be eaten by something. Okay, it never ends well for the raccoon. Except with clams. He does really well against clams. We love the soft-shell turtles, and we all have them in our ponds. They're great. It shows your pond is healthy. We have tortoises. We have, our cranes are, they're the greatest in the world. And talking about the green heron is just as good as the great heron. I like the green heron. Isn't he more fun to watch? He's like a ballet dancer. He's like, did you see me move that toe? Did you see me move that toe? Okay, I moved the toe. Yeah. I love the little green heron. We got our deer, especially out on the golf course. Down where the archery range is, back in there, there's lots of deer, especially on foggy mornings. They think they're hidden in the fog. He said, we got butterflies. Don't you love the butterflies? Now, without the grasses in our ponds, the butterflies don't do well. A lot of the grasses that hold our erosion back and stop us from flooding are dependent upon butterflies and certain bees because they stick to the stickiness of the plant, and the plant then engulfs to make sure that it gets the pollen it needs to reproduce. So we need a strong butterfly and bee population. We know everybody here has already heard bee populations are threatened all over America. It's no different than here in Florida. So providing them with lots of plants and lots of flowering plants is very nice. I do painting. You'll see some of my paintings as we go through here. And don't you guys love the wood stores? I love them when they get on the patio And I used to think they come to the patio to look at me. And then one day I looked back in our windows, and you can't see in our windows, it's a reflection. They were looking at themselves the whole time. Yeah. And I love the little birds. I paint them as well. This was called the winter soliloquy. And you do it the same way here, but without the snow, okay? So, use it for what... We had a meeting with the Bluebird Committee down here at the Garden Club the other day. I don't know who's here, might be with the committee, but they have a Bluebird Society here, but they were down teaching us how to build bluebird houses and all. And so you guys can join that if you want. We have the white herons, we have, oh, by the way, and the reason we have it, these Atlantic flyways, when all the critters come from South America, and they come up here, you see this middle flyway? That is the most concentrated flyway in the world. And so a very, very large percentage of all the birds of both these continents land and eat and breed in Florida, okay? And so it's very important. We have a treaty with all these countries along the way called the Migratory Bird Act Treaty. And so it means that we cannot kill any of these birds, these migratory birds. We cannot trap them, hunt them. Now, I know a lot of people in the aquaculture industry, because I dealt with them. I was on the Florida Aquaculture Board for years, and everybody's complaining about, you know, the cormorants, right? Because the cormorants come in and wipe out fish populations and so forth. But all you can do is use sound cannons at the most. You know, it's probably scare them away. They're smarter than that. And you can get all these at Birds of Prey, local birds. You can get all these through the Wildlife Commission. You know, all of our Florida wading birds. They are really the coolest to watch. My favorite amongst them is, what's that? Osprey, yeah. Man, you're talking about a cool devil. That's a cool devil there. He's like, you know, the guy in Top Gun coming out of the Top Gun Academy. This is him right here, okay? This is Top Gun. But the most useful one of all those birds is this guy, the turkey vulture. He is the only bird in, what? What are you saying? You don't think that, do you want to go pick the squirrel up we just saw? Do you want to go pick the possum and the fox up? Do you know what a possum smells like after 3 days on the road? No, you don't want to be doing it. You know how many of them? You guys kill more animals than anything else in this state. More than the bears, the pythons, the rattlesnakes, the coral snake. You guys are in a league by yourself. And the amount you kill them with those automobiles. Okay? And heat cleans up your mess. Otherwise, we'd be driving out there and we'd be driving over dead carcasses. It's the only animal in the world, the only mammal, that lives entirely off the carcasses of dead animals. Okay? He has special powers in his blood. I got a lot of friends that research that. Now, I personally would like to research my friends that chose as their research subject a vulture. Because there's something criminally wrong with their brain, okay? I've walked into their wet labs before. Ooh! You know, and I used to work on dead shrimp. You can imagine if I got mixed up. So this guy here, he's sort of cool. And I know everybody hates him. When I was raising shrimp, sometimes I'd hate him, you know? But he is like this guy here, General George Patton. Now, you guys know him as this guy here, right? But that's not the real one. And they form armies here, all up and down these ponds, okay? And they herd the fish from one end of the pond to the other, and all the birds around, all the other birds in Casement will come land on that pond. And as they do pincer actions. And this is in there. Pond water activity. I think we're running out of time. So I'll speed it up. Let's get small for just a moment. Now, the most important thing is the bacteria. That's Chuck Messing, Dr. Charles Messing, Professor Emeritus at Nova. And he studies feather stars. And Deep water, that's a group called flockers. We study bacteria. There's more bacteria here in this world than there are stars in the universe. You've heard that before. Now, it's at a factor of 10. Now, you take viruses, it's at a factor of 50 greater than that. That's how many viruses in the ocean alone. 1 cup of sand has more viruses in it than all the pebbles of sand of all the oceans of the world. So, gives you an idea. We took that flock and made feed out of it. That's that universe. There's more viruses than there are stars in. Go out and look at the Milky Way and imagine that there's billions and billions of Milky Ways, and there's more viruses than that. You actually are only 10% human, because the other amount of you that's not water is all bacteria. Bacteria make up most of your body weight, and there's more individual bacteria than there are cells. You got 9 trillion cells in your body. Everybody thinks it's 1. It's 9 trillion cells. And you got almost twice that amount of the cells of bacteria in your body. That's what you have in 1 cup of one little bucket thing. It's actually a kid's pail. Those are the little critters that all the fish feed off on. And when you keep your ponds healthy, and they have the right balance of grass, chemistry, the physical side, and the biology all work. The rotifers are happy. You won't have cyanobacteria. You won't have to worry about flooding, because erosion will be stopped, and you'll live happily ever after with all you beautiful critters and all the little cute ones and the really cute ones here at beautiful Kings Point, okay? Now this is the way I see the Glades, okay? As a biologist, I have one final thing to say. Been saying it for a while now. If you're not vaccinated or you're totally susceptible, this is my advice. It goes over your nose, okay? Now I'll leave you with the final quote from Charles Darwin. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change, that lives within the means available and works cooperatively against common threats. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for, I think he covered everything pretty well. Are there any questions? If not, thank you very much for coming. We have 2 other seminars in February, one the 13th and one the 22nd. One's about alligators, and the other one's about the Tampa Bay estuaries out there that are affected by our